Welcome to the Leading at the Next Level podcast with Dove Development and Consulting. I'm Wes, and I'm absolutely thrilled for this segment in how we work to provide ongoing support for your leadership journey to chat with a friend of mine that I met probably 2 or 3 years ago through the Hops Metal Show YouTube channel, where we were talking with bands about different stuff in the music industry and so on. And Dallas Dwight is kind of the backbone of it was a former band, but now he's with a band called Bourbon Sons, where he's the singer, plays guitar, does all kinds of different stuff. But most importantly about the interaction that Dallas Dwight and I've had over these last couple of years is he's integral in the business part of the music industry with what he does, but with so many other things too. So I said, hey, do you want to come on and chat about purpose and values and what you do, some behind the scenes? And he said, yeah, let's have that conversation outside of the music world. We'll probably talk music too, but Dallas, how about you just give an overview of who you are, what you do, where you're at, whatever you want to share, and we'll get rolling.
Yeah, of course, Wes. Well, first, thanks for having me, and thanks for sending me your book. I unfortunately have not had a chance to get into it yet, but it is on my list, I promise, and I will be getting into that soon, and I really appreciate you sending that my way, so I'm super excited about that. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm super passionate about music, of course. That was my first passion, but as I went through my own journey of being a musician, I realized pretty quickly that if you want, what's the best way to say this? If you love music so much, your goal in my mind would be you want to make it your thing. You want to do it all the time, every day. You don't want to have a day job or anything like that. So I figured out pretty early on that in order to do that, you have to get kind of savvy with business, marketing, advertising, all the things that go around the actual music. Music's just a small part of it. So that's what kind of led me into that at a pretty young age. I mean, probably 17, 18 is when I was starting to figure out that, okay, there's a lot more to this than just getting good at guitar. Like, getting good at guitar is the baseline. You have to be good, not even good. You have to be great. You're expected to be great. That's zero. That's baseline. Just being like, oh, he's a great player. Like, I mean, everybody's a great player. So like, you got to get, if you're not great, you're not even at the door. But to walk through the door and get into the actual industry and things, it takes a lot more than that, especially these days, which, and we can get into this too. It's kind of a double-edged sword with everything being kind of more independent now. There's, on the one hand, there's less gatekeepers. You don't need any permission to go do whatever you want to do, release whatever you want to release. There's no one telling you like, this song isn't it, or this chorus you should do twice. None of that. It's whatever you want to do. So that, and you can get it out there to people. You can put it on Spotify. You don't have to wait on anyone else, no label, anything like that. On the other side, it's all you. You got no help unless, you go with a label like that. So it's, like I said, it's two sides of the same coin. There's a lot of different ways people can do it. But it's an interesting world we're living in the music industry in particular. So,
oh, it's incredible. You touched on a couple of things I'll hit on. I told you I'd go off script a little bit. It's just where I live.
I love it.
Hop and I, not long ago, we talked with a fellow named Jeff Worley. He's played guitar for Jackal for 35 years. He's actually doesn't live too far from you. He's in Seneca, South Carolina.
Yeah, Jackal's a great Southern rock band, and Seneca is where my grandparents were. I've been there many times. I grew up around that area.
Yeah, Jeff made a comment, and Jeff's a fantastic person. I've just loved getting to know him and interacting with him a couple times recently. Got to introduce my son to him just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
But in talking with him, he said, hey, we don't consider ourselves musicians. We play music, but we're entertainers. And there's a bunch of people that are way better musicians than us that never left their basement.
Because it's true. And that just goes back to like being a great musician it's fantastic. Like, it takes a lot of work and stuff. And there's a lot of prodigies out there and stuff where you see someone so young, 6, 7, 8 years old, that there's no way. Like, I'm not a big believer in talent. I don't know that that's a real thing, but you see a 6-year-old shredding the drums and you're like, well, my argument falls apart pretty quick. I don't have any, like, the most he could have practiced is 6 years.
Yeah, that
and realistically, not even that. It would have had to have been 1 or 2 years at that age. But it's so, maybe there is talent. I don't know. I don't think I got any of it. So,
and I say that all the time. I mean, and sometimes people call me out on it, and I'm being too self-deprecating. But the reality is, I've never felt like I've been talented. But what I've been willing to do is outwork anybody I've been around in the industries that I've been a part of. And if I'm willing to do that, I'll probably get better results than the most talented people.
Yeah, and unless the most talented people also are the hardest workers, and those people are incredibly rare. So,
yep. Oh, they're Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And so now,
you do have your Michael Jordan and your Eddie Murphy and, these people that had both, but those people are, you got to just be like, yeah, you know what, dude, like you got me. Like,
Yeah. Well, I've been working through something on our back end stuff over the last couple of days, and I did a lesson probably 5 years ago about Michael Jordan, and I pulled leadership lessons. Here's what
one
I
of my
watched.
favorite people, one of my biggest inspirations.
Yeah, I'm not a basketball fan. I
No, I
mean,
don't even like basketball. I love Michael Jordan. I've watched that documentary like 10 times.
yep, and it's just the grit, and take skill out of it. It's determination, and that applies to every aspect of life. And
And
so you
one of the
mentioned,
biggest things about him, I hate to cut you off.
yep,
But while we're talking about Michael Jordan, the biggest thing, and this is the leadership thing. The biggest thing I learned from that is a leader is not only great, but you put them in any group of people and they make that group great. Because Michael Jordan, and some people would say he was, kind of mean about it or whatever. Maybe you could make that argument, but Steve Kerr punched him in the mouth, that kind of stuff. But he would demand greatness from the people around him as well. So you just being around Michael, from what I'm told, never been, he lives near us though, is you just had to be great also. So he would just pull this thing out of you just from his leadership ability. And that's something that I'm no Michael Jordan, but I tried to pull that out of our guys as well in our team.
In my first book, in What's Killing Your Profitability, I wrote two chapters back to back. One was about the importance of having high expectations, and the next chapter was accountability. And without both, you get mediocrity at best.
Yeah, and it's tough.
Both,
it's tough. It's
stars.
Tough to approach, your brothers or your friends or your coworkers or whatever and be like, hey, I need more,
I mean, a big part of what we do is how do we do that with love, but a high expectation.
Right.
And I promise you, hand to God, it's possible, and it drives incredible results, and it builds tight teams. It's just so fun to see. We get to see some clients that are just killing it when they do that. So
yeah.
Now you mentioned, I think the book that I sent you was Leading with Clear Purpose.
Yes.
Now, I know you haven't gotten to read it, but the theme of that was really talking about, hey, people don't do things for money alone. If that was it, we wouldn't have volunteer firefighters. We wouldn't have people enlisting in the military. You wouldn't be this far into your music career just on the sole thing of music, because it's not just the money. What's been that driving thing for you that you said, hey, I'm going to take on this stuff. I'm going to take that leadership responsibility. I'm going to do the behind the scenes things and make sure that we've got a shot at making a go of it.
This is a tough question that I think about a lot, is why, why we do it, why I do it. And I can speak for many musicians on this. For me, as long as I started playing guitar at 12, and pretty much since then, I was like, I want to be a musician like that. I grabbed a guitar, and as I was grabbing it for the first time, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm not allowed to play it yet, but this is what I want to do. And the best thing I could think of is it's kind of like, do you wake up and ask yourself, like, why do I need to breathe today? Like, you don't really think about it. It's just kind of, this is what I'm doing. This is what it is. This is who I am. This is what it's going to be. And you don't really think, and maybe this is a fault, but I don't really think a lot about purpose in that way. It's just kind of like a part of who I am. This is what I do. This is what I have to offer. And then taking that purpose and that's unlimited motivation at that point. Cause it's just like, there's no other thing. This is what, and that's not a bad, like, desperate thing. It's just like, this is me. Like this is what it's going to be, whether I'm getting paid, whether I'm not, whether I'm with a team, whether I'm alone, whether I'm putting a lot of time into the business or just playing my guitar by myself for fun. That's just what it is,
But when you've got it at that level, I loved how you put it, because it's not, you don't have to think about it when you don't have to think about breathing.
Right.
But
yeah,
when if it's not that ingrained, you better think about it all the time.
Yeah. Otherwise you're going to die. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And I remember when I started writing that book, I remember having a conversation with one of my best friends for the last 40 years. And I heard just an emptiness. And dude, he's been one of my heroes in life. I mean, we're the same age. We're 3 months apart, but I've watched him growing up, and he's just worked hard. And he had a rough childhood, and he was kind of the oldest of his siblings. And I mean, he was helping support the family at 10, 11, 12 years old. And I watched him almost empty. And I realized, without having that clear purpose on your mind all the time, it can be tough.
Yeah.
But when you've got it, when it's like breathing, you just do what you do.
Yeah. And I always think that, like, I don't think I got any talent musically or anything like that. Every bit of musicality I have, I had to fight and scrap for. And I've watched other people around me that didn't have to work that hard. But what I did have that I notice as I've taught hundreds and hundreds of students at this point, music, And I was able through that to see that they didn't have the thing that I had. And that was just like an aggressive willingness to learn and just like a obsession, not even passion, just obsession with the thing itself.
Yep.
And the more students I taught, you teach a lot of beginners and things, and you don't expect that out of anyone. I think that's silly when guitar teachers are like, why didn't you practice? It's like, dude, maybe this kid doesn't want to be a musician. Maybe I'm just here for, 30 minutes of babysitting for the parents this week. Like, who cares? It's just, I'll serve whatever purpose you need me to serve, And when I did have a few students that had that fire, and I would always push those students harder and nurture them. But I never expected that out of students, because that is a rare thing. And that's what I think I've been blessed with, is just that fire that, I couldn't tell you where it came from. I've just always kind of had it.
Well, when it comes to leadership, it's not just about music. It's not just about what Cindy and I do with whether it's speaking or writing or doing whatever. It's about whatever that thing is. That fire better be there. Yeah.
And that's the great thing about leadership in business, is it applies to everything. Now, my experience with it is through music. So that's what I'm always going to come back to.
Sure.
But anything I'm saying about any of this applies to everything. And it's that old quote. I can't remember from the famous samurai forever ago. Once you know the way, you see it in all things.
Absolutely.
And that's the path. My path was learning guitar to a very high level. And that once you walk that path of getting from beginner to expert, it's easy to see, oh, this is the same path over here for badminton or starting a business or whatever. It's the same path. And that quote I always think about. Once you know the way, you see it in all things.
Yep. And you see, maybe if you're catching the video option of this, you see the guitars in both over my shoulders. Yeah. And hey, having guitars and playing guitars are two very different things.
Very true. Yeah. Anyone can have them.
Yeah, that's right. I've got 4, but I can play one mediocre at best. I remember, I'm saying this because I remember 25, 30 years ago, I took a few lessons by one of those prodigies, right? He's amazing. He's like, do this and these scales. And why aren't you doing? I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that shit. I just want to strum some songs.
Yeah, and that's a failing on the teacher's part, in my opinion. My first lesson would always be like, what do you want? And then not even listening to really what they're telling me, just kind of their vibe of like, okay, he says he wants to solo, but really he just wants to play his favorite songs and hang out with some friends. Like, I can help you do that. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, whatever your goal is, because I realized early on, like, my goals were like, I want to be the best. I want to rock stadiums. I want to do whatever. That's not most people's goal,
And that really ties into the next question that I've got. I'll get back on the list because we've been all over the place.
I love it.
How does that help drive you? How does that purpose help drive you to really serve the people that matter to you most, that you want to be whatever it is for?
You mean like family or fans or?
You name it. The people that matter to you. And hey, here's how I know who matters to you. On this, it's personally signed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Driz writes all those. Do you know why?
Because you can read it.
He has the best handwriting. Yeah. So I pack and ship all the orders, but he has a stack. We have 1,500 of those cards, and we have a spreadsheet going. Every order comes in, he writes them a nice note, drops them off at my house. I put them all together and get them out to you. So it's a very personalized grassroots kind of thing. But that was something really important to us, and something we've heard from many people. We get emails all the time like, wow, I wasn't, they just got a free CD. They didn't know like it was coming with all this extra stuff. And that's kind of the under promise, over delivered thing, which is really important to us. But it's always like, I don't know, it sounds kind of cliche, but without any fans, like we're literally nothing. So they kind of deserve everything, and they deserve your best at all times. And that being said, like, we write the music we want to write, and you're free to like it or hate it or whatever. But and your opinions on that won't affect us writing it. Oh, I hate this song. You guys should blah blah. It's like, I mean, we're gonna do what we want to do, but the people that do support us, like they get love from us for sure. But back to the purpose thing. The question was, remind me the question.
It's how is that purpose as a foundation? How does that push you to make sure that you're serving the people that really matter to you? Be that your fans, your family, the rest of the guys in the band.
Yeah. That weighs heavy on my mind, especially in my old band, the LA Maybe. I was just the guitar player. I sang a little bit. Now I'm the lead singer. So there's a whole heap of pressure that comes on with that, particularly with health. Because we've had gigs where if I get sick and lose my voice, everybody goes home earning no money. So like So it's like that weighs heavy on my mind. But as far as purpose, it's the same. It's the same thing. I don't think about it consciously. It kind of unconsciously, it's that drive and that fire that keeps me going, wanting to provide for my family. I'm married now. So, wanting to do right by my family and then with parents and things, make them proud, because I chose the path less traveled, so to speak. I come from a family of military men and lawyers and doctors and things like that. So me growing up, I want to be a musician. They were like, oh God. So, but now it's kind of flipped. They're kind of like, oh, wow. This wasn't just a kid's dream when he was 12. Like, he's just never let this go and scrapped for every dollar and made a living out of it. Like, we just got this year. This is one of our most proud accomplishments. This year, in the last half of last year, was the first time, because we always said we have our day jobs, teaching, whatever, and we have our band money. As soon as those flip, we're quitting all the day jobs, and we've done that now. So we're all to the point where we play and perform and write music for a living, and that was just massive. Can't understate that enough or overstate that enough.
And Cindy, so for me, it's been about 5.5 years that I decided, because I juggled for I don't know, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever. We've had our business for a little over 10, and I get it. And with the family, I mean, our kids are grown. We've got grandkids, and they're not looking to us for a roof over their head and food and so on. So it's a different level of responsibility for you guys. Kudos to you. That's a lot of driving. You better have a purpose driving you, brother.
Yeah. 2 of us are married. One of us has a longtime girlfriend. None of us have any kids except Driz, my other guitar player. He has 3 kids. So he's got, extra weight in that area. So but all that, like, we're a band's a family. So we're all in each other's lives all the time. Everybody knows everybody, all the wives, everything. So it's just, and one thing's kind of fun about that. I couldn't imagine being like a solo artist, where I heard a story the other day. We were playing a gig, and the production company was helping us. And the production guy, great guy, was telling us all these other shows he was running, big artists, big country artists. And he told us the names, which I won't say now, but one of them, he said he was just kind of sitting there doing his thing, and he heard the band that was the solo guy had hired. They were just all trashing him. Like, this guy is the worst. Like, we hate working for him. Like, it's just a job, that kind of stuff. Like, that would drive me nuts. I couldn't be that guy that, like, I'm maybe I'm too self-aware, I guess, but that I would know, like, it's like, man, I'm dropping the ball. Like, I could tell people don't like me. Like, you know what I mean? I guess this guy didn't have that. He was just like, maybe ego, taking over. But we have a group, we have a family that we can, when we load up in the van, it's a group of guys that we've been with for a long time. I've known my drummer 10 years now. He's been my drummer. So, like, it's the family and the group dynamic that we're able to kind of band together. And when things are hard, it's like, all right, well, it's hard, but we're here together getting through the hard. When we toured Europe, and 5 guys in a room, and we still carry those memories with us. Like, hey, if that didn't break us, like, nothing's going to break us,
So talk to me about where values play into that, and maybe name a specific one. I mean, I say that because, to your point, we've been very intentional. We're not where we want to be in business. There's people that make a lot more money, but I don't know that anybody more fulfilled, because we've been intentional about having our values align with the clients that we serve.
Yeah. And when you say values, what are some of your values?
For us, we have an acronym that's impact. We're intentional in what we do. We want to be able to measure the results that we help people achieve. We want to have that purpose built into whatever we do. We want to make sure that things are action based. We can see it. It's not just this fluffy, touchy feely crap that's on a wall. So I could go on, but the words that matter the most to us are what those values evolve to.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you guys, and how you can be that tight knit and continue to do it, because it's got to be aligned?
Yeah, you're asking the tough questions. These are good questions. I got to think about our values. For us, it's been all about being a group, being a family, putting our personal relationships with each other ahead of a lot of things. Because when things are good in that department, things are great, and when they're not, they suck. So. And that's one of the reasons we have Bourbon Sons in the first place, is because with the LA Maybe, we had to part ways with our singer. And it was in a lot of ways like removing a cancer from the band, like, because there would be, all this tension between members, not even him, just members, other members, some of the 4 of us now. And then when we got rid of that, everything improved. But like, all of a sudden we weren't fighting at all, or, nothing was going wrong, really, it seemed. And everything just started shooting up. So we were like, oh, wow. We should have maybe made this decision sooner. And that's not to trash him, but It was, just a move we needed to make. And when we made that move, we made the conscious decision like, okay, well, we're going to have to change our sound, because we could go look for another singer and that'll be a whole process. And then we might still be in the same position. So me and Driz were already writing all the songs anyway. So we were like, well, we could just keep doing that. I'll try singing them, but we're just going to have to kind of alter our sound a little bit. At the same time, our agency was telling us, hey, if you guys play country songs, like we'll book you everywhere. Like everybody wants country. So we're like, we'll learn a few, we'll try them out. Learned a few, played a few, watched the crowd go ballistic. And we were like, all right, this is way more fun. So, and I grew up on country. My first concert ever was Tim McGraw. So country's always, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. Like my, country's in my blood. So it was not a hard switch to make. And we've just been having the most fun doing it now, and that's kind of, for us, it's performing at a high level. We want to play our best at all times. We want to show up prepared. We want to show up on time, all the stuff that's free to do.
Yep. And hey, you nailed it. Values are free to do. It's a choice.
Yeah.
I just finished a book. It'll be released in a couple months called The Values Advantage, where it's really a case study. About 5 years ago, I got to meet a couple from, they were moving to our area in Virginia from Florida. And I'm like, why the hell would you want to do that? But that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Florida's pretty good. Yeah.
But when in my first conversation where I sat right now, he said, here's our 5 values before they ever bought the business. Every decision we make, when you write our handbook, everything, I want it all tied to these values. And if it's not required by the government and we can't tie it to those values, I don't want it in our handbook. I don't want it done in our practice, yada, 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 all those things. And brother, I've watched for now 5 years him exemplify that. We've gotten close with his kids who are actively involved in the business. And they're some of the finest young folks I've ever met. It's a case study. And I'm going, it's free. It's a choice, but you got to hold that choice. Yeah. Every day.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, the best things are free. Like it doesn't cost anything to be on time, be prepared, in our case, know your parts, do the practice, do the homework.
Yep.
Like we've had many bands cannot do this, but we've had so many times where we're learning a new song by request of a client or something. If we play a wedding and they're like, oh, learn our first dance song. We will not rehearse that song. We will tell everyone, here's what we're going to do. This is the section. This is the part. Show up ready to go. And we've done that many times.
Wow.
So, and there's never an issue. So everybody knows every stop, start, chord change, harmony, everything. And it just shows up ready to go. Cause we have a team of people where everybody wants to, not make a fool of themselves, put their best. You don't want to be the weak link. So when and I try to lead the charge in that regard where I'm always going to show up prepared, ready to go. And I don't want to have to look at anyone and be like, what are you doing?
So I'll make a short commercial for you on this. Now, transparently, you know that I like the style of music with the LA Maybe better than I do the country stuff. It's just who I'm at. And that has zero bearing on what you're going to do moving forward. Here's what I'll say is I love the way you guys run the business side of your music. Now, I love the guitar work that you guys do in your music. I just don't like the country twang as much, but you kill it. The Thunderstruck and wherever somebody accesses this, you'll be able to see the different links and then show notes to bourbonsons.com and your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook, your YouTube, and check them out. Even if you're the headbanger, the 80s hairband guy like me, check out the Thunderstruck cover. Holy freaking
there's stuff in there for everyone. So the tagline we came up with was we're 2 country for rock and 2 rock for country. So we're kind of in that kind of, so there was a lot of people just call it Southern rock, call it whatever you want. We don't really care, but we're just writing stuff we like and stuff we believe in. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's stellar. Now, you just mentioned it, you kind of alluded to, and I'm going to ask the question anyway. Talk about the impact that makes where you can do that when it's a wedding, when it's an event, when it's whatever, and they say, hey, can you do this for us? What do you see the person that's asked you, how do you see that reflect and make an impact on them when you guys put the energy into having your crap together to be able to do that?
Yeah. A lot of times they're super stoked. Like, and I think people think it's almost kind of like a magic trick when they ask for a song, you play the song like, whoa, that's the song I asked for, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool to see that happen. Another fun magic trick is when they request a song, they might come up and request a song that's already in our catalog. We've played it for years, but they don't know that. So we're like, I always try to, we could maybe do that one for you. And then we just crush it, like I'll see if we know it, whatever. And that's always fun too. They love that. But yeah, it gets a little crowd participation. And we try not to take too many requests. We've had some annoying people come up
Freebird.
My go-to, yeah, Freebird's a big one. My go-to is it's always like a young like sorority girl or something. She'll come up and she'll be, wasted and play blah blah blah. And we have in-ear monitors in. For starters, if nothing's going on in them, they're molded to my ears. I can't hear what you're saying, even if there's nothing going on and you're right in front of my face. I have to pull one out. Now, let alone when the band's playing and there's music going on. And I keep mine pretty loud because it just feels good. So they're coming up saying stuff. I pull one out. I can't understand what she's saying. I'm in the middle of singing. I got to go back and sing. I always go on the mic. I go, I'm busy.
Take a number.
What do you want me to do?
Well, to be able to do that, though, how much have you guys had to work? Now, you mentioned rehearse, know your parts when you get there. You don't do it, and so on. How much of goes in on the back end to be able to prepare and show up when you pull one out and you kill it? How much went into that?
As far
3
as
minutes
rehearsal stuff, learning new songs, particularly like musically. It depends on the song, but really not too much. The biggest thing for me is the lyrics and the melodies to make sure I nail those now, which is something I never had to worry about before. But the guitar stuff comes pretty quick. Like unless it's something really involved, which it rarely is, if it's a famous song, then it's not like Rush or something where you're like, oh God, I gotta like spend an hour learning this. Like it's a couple chords. You go, okay, the next chorus is gonna be the same as this one. So you really learn a whole song in like less than the time of the song itself. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna repeat in certain ways. So it's pretty quick, especially if we're just learning a segment of a song. Like you mentioned the wedding thing, if we're doing a first dance or something, usually it's like a verse and a chorus. So it comes pretty quick. The most time I'll spend working on it will be actually listening to the phrasing, the lyrics, the singing, that kind of stuff, making sure I don't botch something that might mean so much to these people, especially if it's a first dance or something. So
let's take that deeper. How much time have you invested to be able to do that in a couple minutes?
Oh yeah, years. I've been playing guitar for 20 years. So yeah, it's that stuff you don't see that went into it, that now I can listen to a song without even my guitar in my hands and have a pretty good idea what's going on. And then I grab the guitar, double check, good to go. Let's do it. Like we played a gig in the UK. We were playing with some friends of ours. They're called the New Roses. They were the headliners. We were playing right before them. And we got off stage and they were about to get on stage. And the guy said, hey, do you want to play a song with us? I was like, yeah, what song? He was like, Keep on Rocking in the Free World. I was like, don't know it. I'll learn it real quick. I'll see you up there in a few minutes. So they went up, started their set. I'm in the back learning it real quick. And then went on stage, 5 songs later and jammed it with them.
And therein goes back to that foundation that you've put in place over 20 years.
Yeah. The other funny story I have about that is I was playing with a band. This was in college. It was like a hodgepodge band. It wasn't like a name or anything. They wanted to do a big jam at the end. This has actually happened to me a few times on stage where they start playing the song and I realize I don't know this song. Not only do I not know the chords, I've never heard this song. And I'm having to look around and as I'm going, just kind of figure it out literally on stage while people are watching. That's happened to me numerous times.
And therein is the difference between knowing how to play the guitar and having the guitar.
Yeah.
Because I have them and there's no chance in the world that I'm going to execute that.
And not only do you have to, learn it on the fly, you have to make it look like, of course I know this song. Like, and then I get off stage and I'm turning to the bass player like, what song was that? That was a cool song. Like, what was that?
One of the best lessons I ever had for preparation drives good results. A couple of years ago, Cindy and I were at an industry association event and a big name, I won't say the name, but he's a Hall of Fame personality, was the main stage keynote speaker for close to 6 figures, right? And I'm watching it. And the best thing about his presentation was he quit 20 minutes in and took questions and he didn't go the full 45. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's a wonderful person. But it was the worst preparation. It was the poorest delivery I've ever seen at any level.
Didn't have just getting the check.
And it's, I said, if he can do, the only difference between him and me is his name. I've worked harder.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I could do what he does, but I can do better in my own space.
Yeah. It's frustrating too when you see people, like I'll see country musicians and stuff and I just look at them. I'm like, this sucks, dude. Like, I can't believe there's 2 million people on this page. Like, and sure, that's somewhat subjective, but then I'll dig into certain artists and be like, I don't get this at all. Like, I don't understand how anyone could think this is good. It seems lazy. It seems like, I don't know, maybe it's looks. I don't know. Sometimes it's not even that. You're like, well, this guy objectively is not attractive. So like, you know what I mean? Like what is going on here? And I still can't explain it. There's no answer for it.
Hey, Hop and I talk all the time when we're going to see shows and stuff that some of the, and you and I've had this conversation as well. Sometimes it's more about who a label or who the industry's promoting and how much money they've had back them. It's media. Media tells you what you're supposed to like and what you're not. Some of us actually think for ourselves. That's a whole different topic. Yeah.
And a lot of times we think with social media that it's all grassroots and stuff. And then you dig in and you realize, oh, this was bought and paid for. Like there's that Shabuzi song that went super viral. And at the same time, Dasha had her song that went super viral. Out of the two, I think the Shabuzi song is actually a better song, but both those songs had robust money behind the influencer campaigns. So they were paying TikTok people up to $800 per post to promote these songs. And they were big influencers with big followings. So of course they took off. So it's like, well, you start digging in. Oh, what makes a song go viral? Oh, it was just that good. No, it was not. Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe it's good. We could argue good and bad all day, but we can't argue the money that went in behind these songs that all of a sudden give them, the overnight success appeal,
Yep.
And hey, and I'm a big fan of what we call unfair advantages. If your unfair advantage is that your dad owns a hedge fund and he has $1 billion in a trust fund for you to start your little side project as a musician, great. Use that $1 billion. Like that's an unfair advantage that I don't have, but if you have it, use it. Like our unfair advantage, we realize is we're the same 4 guys every show. There's never a sub. There's never any change. We've just been together so long. That's one of the unfair advantages that when we go around and meet other artists that we realize they don't have. They're like, oh yeah, this is the guitar player. I don't even know his name. He's just here for the day. Like we don't have any of that. Like, you know what I mean?
So how has that knowing, hey, you found your unfair advantage. Here's what we've got. We don't have this. This is what we do have. How has that driven you to really lean into that one thing, to invest your time, your energy, everything you've got into being the best you are in that specific category?
Yeah, it just helps us reframe, I think. So we're not constantly thinking like, oh man, it'd be nice. Oh, we can't do it because we don't have the $1 million backing. It's like, well, we have our own thing. They don't have what we have, which is a brotherhood of guys and players that can play their ass off, like that are, like you can go hire a bunch of players, but they don't have your back. They're, like I said earlier, they're talking trash about you in the back. Like, man, I hate playing with this guy. Like, like I wish I would have started my own band, whatever. We have that unfair advantage, and that helps us just really stay like a tight knit group and really push forward as a unit.
Give me a story of somewhere that you've got guys have played or some where you've seen somebody walk away and go, holy crap, you just made an impact on me. So for me, it's when I see stuff like this, when we have interaction on social media and I say, hey, I'm not sure if you remember. Yeah, I remember you, Wes. Yeah. Give me a story where you see that and how that makes it worth it.
For us, it's like personal touches. Like it's really important to me, and I communicate it to my guys as well. And we just brought on our first crew member. I was communicating it to him the other day. It's really important that it's just super simple. Learn everybody's name and use it. So like we have fans come up to us, there's no reason I should be expected to remember their name, but I do. So I have a pretty good memory. So that's actually lucky. But and I try hard to be good with names because I realize most of the people that are bad with names, they just don't really try. Because sometimes I'll have someone introduce themselves and I realize literally as their name's coming at me, I'm just like, I forgot. I don't know. Like, and it's like, so I try to turn that off and be like, okay, well, what was it? Tom, nice to meet you, whatever. And, servers, bar staff, production people, managers, agents, everybody, we just try to really dial that in. That's one small example. It's lots of stuff like that. Just being personable, being cool. One of my favorite things is when we're hanging out with people and they realize like, oh, these guys are cool. Like they're not the typical like snobby artists. Like these guys are great. They're cracking jokes. Everybody's laughing. We all feel like included. It's a big thing when we're in airports. We travel as a group and we're typically, we all have instruments on. We're laughing. We're joking. Like it seems like we're a rolling party, heads are turning. Everybody's kind of like, we just kind of elevate the atmosphere with like good vibes. That's important to me. I don't ever want to be that snobby, egotistical, nose up kind of artist. I don't like that at all. So that's something we try hard not to do.
And that's not different in any industry. I mean,
no.
15 years ago, I moved from one sector of a big corporation into another, and I took on responsibility for human resources. And man, I messed up. It was new to me. I didn't know some of the stuff I was doing, but what saved my tail was I knew everybody, all 650 people in that building by name.
Yeah.
And it was, okay, Wes, he's kind of stupid, but at least he cares.
Right.
And got to learn. We have to learn, right? But if we can show that we give a crap, that, man, giving a crap's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Big deal.
A big deal. So,
and most people don't expect it. So it's not like you're expected to remember the fan in Oklahoma's name, but when you do, they're like, oh, wow. Like, you know,
100%. And same deal. I mean, if we're with a company, whether it's 20 people in an organization or we're with 150 people or whatever, how many of the folks can we get to know deeply? So when we're on stage and doing a presentation, we can connect with that person in the audience and weave it into what we're saying. And everybody loves it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Not easy.
Name. Yeah. They say a person's name is the sweetest sound to them.
Yeah. I was going to, where I heard that first was Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I think that's probably where I heard it too. Yeah.
1937.
Yep.
And hey, here's a quick side story. About 15 years ago, I was going through this training certification, big corporate package, blah, blah, blah. And I was calling people by name. And the guy pulls me aside at the end of the training. And he says, hey, if you're going to do this, I can't certify you. What the heck are you talking about? And I had to do my final one the very next day to get my little badge of honor to go home and whatnot. And I didn't. I went through the 5 or 10 minutes that I was expected to, and I didn't call anybody by the name. And he pats me on the back and he says, hey, great job. I said, so I'm done? Yes. I'm certified for life. Yes. If I leave the company, yes. If I do this, yes. All these things. And I said, so I'm never doing that shit again.
Yeah.
I'm never not calling somebody by name when I can, because I want to show that I value them.
Yeah.
And he was angry, but I didn't care.
Well, I think he's in the wrong, probably. I can't understand why that would be
wrong. Yeah, 100% he was wrong. Now, we've woven around a lot of different things. It's a parallel to what you do in the music industry, to what everybody does in every industry. It's work hard, do well, have good values, have a purpose that drives you. If somebody's coming to you, and I ask this question specifically in this way, so oftentimes people talk about, hey, I want to grow in my career. I want to be a manager. I want to be a company owner. And I stress, hey, you can manage a lot of people, but it doesn't mean people respect you. And I stress the importance of leadership, not position and authority. If somebody wants to grow and develop influence and be a leader, what advice are you giving them?
I would say this kind of meme picture came to my mind, but it's essentially lead from the front. So there's a picture of like, I can't remember what it was, but it said like manager on one side, and the manager's behind everyone cracking the whip. And it says leader on the other side, and the leader's in the front leading the charge with the sword. You know, it's that kind of thing. Like you want to lead by example. You want to lead. It's the old thing. Like, I'll never ask you to do anything I wouldn't do myself, that kind of thing. Like, it's less like dictating, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be told what to do. And more like setting an example.
If I were watching you day to day, tell me what I would see you doing to model that.
A lot of stuff sitting here at this computer doing running ads, creating, art, mixing music, whatever. When I say art, I mean like the album covers, like I did all those, like all that stuff. So, logos, just keeping the machine running and always trying to do. I heard someone say the other day, a leader does the most work and takes the least credit. So that's something I've typically done the most work. I'm trying to work harder on taking less credit. Because I feel like, if you do the most work, you're like, oh, I want to be recognized for my work. So I'm trying to turn that part off and just be like, hey, just do the most work. Let everybody else take the credit. Who cares? Just let's get it done, Yeah.
I respect that. Hey, I sat where I sit right now until 9:00 Sunday night, because there was a project that, hey, I'm started. I'm going to finish it.
Yep.
Nobody else is going to do it. I got to do it. Let's get it done. So
yeah.
Do the most work. It all comes back.
So. Yeah. And you don't, complain about it or anything. This is what you signed up for. This is, you wanted to be the leader. You know what I mean?
Hey, so you will probably say, I'll say my wife and I get to work together, albeit not side by side right now, but almost everything we do is side by side. It's the coolest thing I've ever gotten to do in my life. It's the biggest blessing that I can imagine. I've got the best job in the world. And I'm guessing that you would say, no. Mine's the best job in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Which is how we know we're in good positions.
Yep. So what have I not asked you that I should?
I thought we covered everything pretty good. I mean, I don't have any. Yeah, got the good questions coming at me today.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, different than what you're probably used to in the music.
Yeah, I'll have people be like, "Oh, how did you learn the Thunderstruck? How do you make your voice do that?" You know, it's stuff like that. It's like I don't know, dude. Like,
So
this is not the stuff that really interests me.
you baited me with that, so I'm going to share this. I like the live version of Thunderstruck better than the studio version.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, from the from Open Air Live when we did it at that studio. That's at our agency studio. Yeah.
Yep. And the reason is it's as tight. It just doesn't have the back and forth all the way through the song. That's how I could tell it was alive, but you nail it just as well. And that's just, okay, that's work. You put something into that to get that one. So just killer. Yeah, I really appreciate this. This is a blast. Like I've mentioned, all in the show notes, the links to bourbonsons.com, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook, your YouTube. My feedback to or recommendation, my ask for anybody that's catching this is check them out. You don't have to like country music. It's killer guitar stuff. If you
I was just going to say, don't let the word country or rock or any sort of preconceived notions, just go listen and see if you like it.
Yep. And
we kind of have our own type of thing going on.
And for me, I like it because I've gotten to know and respect the people. There's I'll do work I don't like for people that I respect.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll find artists that I don't necessarily would never have gone to their music, and I discover more about them, and I'm like, I love these guys. That's a big part of it for sure. And then conversely, you find music you love, and you find the person's the worst, and you're like, I'm good.
Yeah. Hey, there was a band that the lead singer, the band's named after a rodent. The lead singer was in the Geico commercials not so long ago. When I saw them play in the late 90s, I loved him until then. And when I saw him be a jackass on stage, I said, I'm done.
Yeah, he's famously one. So
and 100%.
And actually, a lot of those 80s guys are. And it's so weird. Like a lot of the frontmen were, and then a lot of the guitar players were just the nicest, best guitar players, sweetest people. Like, Eddie Van Halen's a great example. He's famously like one of the shyest, nicest, kindest people. I'm sure he had his moments like anybody else, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the frontman thing. I don't know.
You don't have to be that way. you could be a good guy and be.
One thing I really like about country is rock, almost, at least the old school rock that we used to do, kind of leans into that, like, aggressive, rude, that kind of stuff. And country's the opposite. Like if you're that way in country, people are like, nah, we're out,
Yep, that's right.
Kind of the everyman thing. You get your Luke Combs, I saw a video of him, some kids in the front row at a stadium holding up a sign that said, I spent my allowance or my life savings or whatever as a kid, $100 or whatever, to get these tickets. And Luke Combs draws him, points him out, talks to him in between songs. He's like, how much you pay for those tickets? He said, Luke Combs pulls out his wallet and goes, I got 200 here. You can have it. And just gives him $200. like that's just the kind of guy a lot of these country guys are. And I think there's definitely a portion of the guys that feel like they have to be that way and they're not really that way. So it's kind of a disingenuous, like fake nice guy kind of thing. But a lot of the country guys, from what I've heard, I haven't met very many of them, are really nice, good people.
And that's what
I like that a lot better than the rock world, for sure.
Yeah. When it all boils down to it, I want to be around good people, and I don't care what industry it is. And hey, even if it's the one I like, I don't want to be around them if they're not a good person.
Yeah.
So now I'll wind this down. We could go on for days about this. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah,
so listeners, check out Bourbon Sons, Dallas Dwight, Driz. The band is fantastic. If you're catching this and you need continuing education credits, check us out. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. Wherever you're catching this, there will be updates in the show notes. We're about to launch an app. We've got a new community coming. There's a whole lot of different things. We've got some courses, some memberships, a whole bunch of things. I won't even go into that, but check out the show notes for more of those. We appreciate you being with us on the Leading at the Next Level podcast. Dallas Dwight, you're awesome, brother. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much. Anytime. Great to see you again.
You bet. See you soon.